Adam Jahns is in the fold. Hey, we already covered that. I'm sorry. Ryan Poles extension. Wow. Jahns is here to talk about it. So is Greg Braggs. The CHGO Bears podcast starts right now. Alignment, indeed. There they are. Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, both in the fold. Kevin Warren and company saying no more of this. We will have our GM and our coach aligned.
That's right.
And hopefully our quarterback will hit finally. Welcome into the CHGO Bears podcast along my handy dandy trusty friend Gregory P. Allen Braggs. And the P stands for all around good guy, which I'll get to later in the program to start the show. But we do have our newest teammate. My reading is just coming up around here as Adam Jahns joining us here to start the show with the big breaking news over the weekend. I'm reading more on our website than I ever have before because Jahns is putting out some incredible stuff. Become a diehard. Johnsy, good to see you, brother.
It's good to be here, guys. Good to see you again. Hey, and you got that long piece on Tyson Bagent up there as well. Come on.
I got to say, that piece is solid. I don't know if you had a chance to take your time reading that. Yeah, that's a good. Have you read it?
It's very good.
Did you read it?
No. Sorry. I've been at concerts for the last 2 weeks.
I mean, Kevin Kaduk called it a love letter to Bagent. I took slight offense to that. Shout out Kaduk. It was not a love letter. It's a good piece, damn it. But I spent a lot of time on it, and yes, I use the higher ups to edit it too. So it's yes, check that out too. But here, let's get into it, Johnsy. Were you surprised by this news? We heard rumblings of this, but then it was officially put out here. 2029, he's in the fold.
Yeah, lots of rumblings about it heading into Friday. It's Friday news dumps are one thing or the other. But my first reaction was good. About time. This is what the Bears should be doing. This is how they should have been operating for years, for forever. At least it seems that way under George McCaskey. Read my piece. You guys know it. You guys have lived it. You've covered it. The GM, the head coach, the quarterback, they're rarely aligned. Now they are for at least the next 3 years, and at least for Poles and Ben Johnson the next 5. This is good news. This is a good step in the right direction for the Chicago Bears.
Do you get the sense that this was a requirement from Ben Johnson joining the Chicago Bears? Because I would think that a head coach would want that alignment before he agrees to any kind of contract to come to Chicago.
Yeah, remember all their answers about we are aligned. Philosophically, we're aligned. Like this is different. This is signatures. This is term. This is actually something meaningful, not just words at a press conference. So, yes, I would think so. I think the underrated part of this is that Ben Johnson, being as coveted as he was as a head coaching candidate, chose the Chicago Bears and chose Caleb Williams, and more importantly, chose to work with Ryan Poles. That's a big takeaway from all of this. Can't be overlooked. So, yes, if Ben Johnson wanted this, I think Kevin Warren and George McCaskey have to listen. But I think the answer was already there because he chose to work with Ryan Poles despite having other options out there.
Are you surprised by that? Because, hey, we're all full speed ahead. It's been a great offseason. They revamped the O-line. Things look good from a roster standpoint. But heading into the offseason from the end of last year on a 10-game losing streak, it was hard for me to bet that Ryan Poles would survive it. So are you surprised that Ben Johnson did take such a keen interest into what Ryan Poles is trying to do here?
I think, Greg, I keep calling you Greg. Braggs, what really surprises me in all this, that the Bears, they have, guys, I can't stress this enough. Their head coach and their GM are now aligned. There's no extra intrigue. There's no power struggle. There isn't Ben Johnson taking over player personnel. They're working together on this so many times. How many times have we covered this team or watched this team where you have Phil Emery signing Jay Cutler to a massive extension, and now he's stuck here for John Fox and Ryan Pace, and they can't get out of this extension. So to me, this is a new way of doing business. And maybe Kevin Warren deserves credit for this, and George McCaskey does too, for listening to someone there. We're getting everybody on the same page at last. Like, I think that's what surprises me. No, I'm not surprised that Ben Johnson wanted to work with Ryan Poles. You know, he did some great maneuvering to get Caleb Williams, and this roster on paper isn't that bad. I think it's very competitive. But to see the brass, the presidency, the chairmanship, to see them all on board for getting everybody on the same page, that stands out to me. That's significant in so many ways.
So let me play the devil's advocate here just for a second. Let's just say hypothetically, well, they weren't aligned to start. These contracts weren't aligned. Neither was the quarterback. You already spent a year with Matt Eberflus. So why don't we just play this out one more year? Let's see how the draft picks hit this season. Let's see if Caleb actually hits, and they went after some terrible pivot there that would be a disaster for the franchise. Let's just let this run one more year to see if you actually have gotten the offensive line right, and you have some more impact guys on offense. Like, what would have been the downside to that if I'm trying to play the devil's advocate here?
I guess the best answer I can give you is the Bears have already done that. They've already tried to run it through, see it through in this instance. Like, I just keep going back to the selection of Mitch Trubisky. It's Ryan Pace not informing his head coach that he's drafting a quarterback. Like, can we get over that extra intrigue? Can we get over that extra conflict of interest of the most important people in your building? Like, move past that. So to me, seeing them contractually bound together, not just philosophically, but by contract, I think that's an important step to getting everybody aligned throughout the entire organization.
So I'll give you another place that you would not have been in, but let's just say we go back in time and Ben Johnson calls you up and says, hey, I'm thinking about coming to Chicago. They're going to pay me a boatload of money, and I'm going to be tied to the hip with Ryan Poles, and I'm going to be tied to the hip with Caleb Williams. Adam Jahns, what do you think about that as somebody who's covered the Bears for a decade plus and has seen this thing? What would you have told him at that point? Because I'm still trying to wrestle with like why he really, really, really wanted to come here. And I think it's Caleb, but I'm still trying to figure it out on some level.
I think a lot of young coaches are intrigued by working with a young quarterback. Like Matt Nagy was. 100% was. Like, that was intriguing to him. Matt Eberflus said the same exact thing about Justin Fields. Young, up-and-coming, first-round quarterback. Like, if this works, I'm in a good spot. At least to me, Ben Johnson, with his play-calling experience, with Jared Goff, and just his success in Detroit, like, brings more to the table than Matt Nagy did in the situation, if you're going to compare and contrast the two situations. Like, he has 3 years of play calling experience. He knows what he wants to do. He's been through this. He's built offenses for different quarterbacks before. So this is a good move. So if he wants Caleb Williams and he wants to be part of the Bears and he's this coveted candidate, then so be it. This is a good move for the Bears. And like my answer, like I tell everybody this over beers, or whatnot. Like if this doesn't work, like with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams, guys, I don't know. I mean, this is the first overall pick quarterback. This is one of the most coveted coaching candidates in recent history, who has just led some of the best offenses in league history, who just got this massive 5-year contract from the Chicago Bears. Like, guys, if this doesn't work, I don't know what the answer is. So at least you have the Bears swinging for the fences on this.
I'm definitely scared for Bears fans' sake if it didn't.
We're all scared about you in week one, and if they lose, and what's going to happen.
I'm scared for me, too.
Yeah.
Well, going back to Ryan, I mean, Johnsy, you've been able to get close to him here the last few years. I know you and Hogan were in his office last year interviewing him here, almost a year ago at this time. And so, like, I've been around him a few times, and he definitely seems like a guy that has a lot of confidence in what he's doing. But I'm curious from your perspective, do you actually, like, all right, the ink is signed, and he's here now for the next 5 years. But do you actually believe in Ryan Poles? Because his results here have been a mixed bag. He's 15-36 under his tenure as GM, but he did have to rip it down and build it back up. And now we're at this moment here. But do you actually believe in the vision that Ryan Poles is trying to put forward here?
I think you're bringing up a very good point there about the ripping it down. I think his exact words was taking it down to the studs, something like that. He's on record saying something like that when he came in and took over Ryan Pace's roster, which I think if you go back in time, I bet you Ryan Pace wished he could tear down that roster and fully start over, but instead he was stuck with Jay Cutler and that massive contract extension that we just talked about, left over from Phil Emery. So I think one of the most overlooked aspects in the Ryan Poles rebuild is he actually tried to do a rebuild. How often do you just see teams try the quick turnaround? Like when John Fox was hired, he promised to turn this around quickly. Instead, things got a lot worse. They did. But let's just be honest. So he was known for those quick turnarounds. He was known for turning around things quickly. That was part of his track record. Did it in Denver. But you know what? Peyton Manning wasn't coming to Chicago with John Fox. Just different. But that's what the Bears sold. So to me, like I almost respected what the Bears were trying to do because they've never done anything like this before. Under Ted Phillips, they always tried for these quick turnarounds. You know, this quick fix. Ryan Poles tried to fill a lot of holes on this roster by tearing things down, collecting draft picks. And I think it takes 2 or 3 years for stuff to come to fruition. And just by drafting a quarterback, getting that last big piece, now we see where this really goes. So, yes, 15-36, that's grounds for firing for a lot of teams. But for the Bears, like I look at that first year under Ryan Poles so differently because under the Bears, under George McCaskey, they've never tried anything like this before. So you're almost looking at it like, well, everything we've done in the past hasn't worked. So here we go. And now, 3-4 years into it, you have to see what this comes to be.
It's a super fair point that, like, look, in the NFL, you try to turn it as quick as possible. These Mulata organizations do. Those organizations end up looking a lot like the Jets do, or the Bears have, whatever. And it's very hard to hit the 1 year miracle. And then even when you hit the 1 year miracle, sometimes you end up with the double doink. So it's just, I do respect the process that they're going through right now. I'll say this: when you look back, is your best move, and we're going to get into this a little bit later in the show, but is your best Poles move the trade out of the pick and ending up with Caleb and building, the plethora of draft picks that he did? Is that at the top of your list, or do you look at anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a swing for the quarterback. I always judge GMs by what they do at the quarterback position. It's the most important one in all sports, and it's the hardest position to get right. So if these GMs want to take swings at journeyman veteran quarterbacks, so be it. But I respect the ones that have the guts to go after the ones in the draft and try to build a developmental program for these young quarterbacks. And not a lot of GMs do it. They just don't. They try to get all these retreads in there. Like Aaron Rodgers is still in the league because GMs, let's face it, they're scared about turning things over to a young quarterback because most often things aren't going to work out. So this is Ryan Poles' big swing. The numbers weren't bad for Caleb Williams. There's a lot of areas where he has to improve, but that move is still going to define his tenure. Well, now along with the hiring of Ben Johnson.
Got one more. I'll have a terrible question that nobody wants me to ask, and I'm going to fire that. So
is
it's
it
up
a
to you.
Poles one?
No.
Okay. No, I mean, we were talking about it a little bit before off the air, and I know we're probably going to get into this as we get closer to Saturday when rookies are scheduled to report to Hallis Hall and as we start to really get underway with training camp here in Chicago. So what's the deal with these second-round picks? I feel like we do this every year where there's like a panic moment that the rookies aren't going to get signed, and then it ends up happening anyway, but we already have a holdout in Miami, and so there's some, I guess, conversation that this year is starting to kind of change the tune on how this process might play out.
You know what? Good for the players, good for the second-round picks and the representation for taking a stand on this because there's not many things left in the CBA when it comes to rookies that the agents and the players can really argue for. Everything is kind of set in stone. Everything is well established about how things are supposed to operate. So it looks like the players, it looks like the agents have finally found something to take a stand on it, and so be it. Their contract should be fully guaranteed. It is an intense, violent sport. Like hockey's got fully guaranteed contracts. Baseball's got fully guaranteed contracts. Like this is a good thing. So I don't mind. Like I feel like fans, readers, listeners tend to get mad at the players for holding out. But you know what? I think this could be a win for the players if teams start to fold. If the Bears are a big one because they have 3 second-round picks because there's not much left for them to fight for. So if they can stand their ground, they can get their guaranteed money, then so be it. I think it's a good thing for the players. I really do.
If I was representing them, I'd tell them to stand their ground too. Hey, man, they need you, and you should be getting more guaranteed money than you're getting. More important, well, not necessarily more importantly, actually more importantly, same show, new home, the first Hogan Jahns under the CHGO ALLCITY umbrella. 1 week from today, Jahns. Are you ready?
I am. Hogan's still, well, he's still on vacation. He's probably still wearing basketball jerseys and sunglasses as we speak right now.
Yeah. He's wakeboarding. He's he's doing the
How
home.
many takes do you think that? I saw his Instagram video of himself wakeboarding. That's got to be like the 7th or 8th take, right?
I hope so, just because when I watched it, I was like, geez, that is easily the most athletic thing anyone at the CHGO Bears team has ever done.
Hogs is
minus Corey Wooten and Lance Briggs and Jerry Azuma.
I'm very, very stingy on giving athletic credit to anybody, but Hogue does have a versatility to him that warrants some level of respect. I mean, he'll get on the hoop court. He swings it on the golf course. Haven't seen him on the softball field. Don't worry about it. We've been here for 4 years. But you know, you got to give him a little bit of love. The guy, you know, he's capable. Let's put it like that.
Hey, he's got video proof.
He's got video proof. Hey, YCHGO is the new home for my Bears coverage. If you haven't read it yet, go there and check it out. Jahnsy, this is a great piece. I really enjoyed it, and it's got a lot of Chicago flavor.
And, of course, his piece on Ryan Poles as well.
And yeah, that one too. But he's got history of his Preps Plus start in here and answering the phones at 10:30 at night, and he was loving it to the end of the earth because it was exciting.
Still miss it, yeah.
He was getting the Homewood Philosopher score, and other people wouldn't want that. They were out at 25 years old trying to, chasing whatever they're chasing. This dude's working. Damn it. I respect that.
On the grind.
That's right. All right, brother. Thanks for making time. And, 1 week from today, we'll be watching.
All right, fellas. Talk soon. See ya.
There you go. Adam Jahns, our hero, our
That's
leader.
right. And
I'm calling him co-leader.
Still got the Hogan Jahns deal going down, Steven? Not to put you on the spot.
What's the Hogan Jahns deal?
I believe so.
We've got $36 to sign up with the Hogan Jahns deal. With that, you get a limited edition Hogan Jahns t-shirt. And then if you want the $59 deal for 1 year, you get a limited edition Hogan Jahns hat from Branded Bills. If you see here, if you're watching here on YouTube, you can see that hat looks super sweet. So $36 a year, get the Hogan Jahns shirt. $59 for the year, you get the Hogan Jahns hat, and then you get all this, all-inclusive writing that is only for diehards only. You get discounts on merchandise, get a free shirt out the gate. You get, of course, discounts on our events like our tailgates coming up for every home game this season. So a lot to offer here at CHGO Bears.
Also got another great offer. Nobody wants to play softball tonight, so if anybody wants to DM me on Twitter or in the Discord for
Crystal
diehards,
will be there, right?
Crystal will be there, but we need about 4 people. And I know you're not playing. I know Steven's not playing. I know no one else around here wants to play. So we need players. Dirty Dog, what are you doing tonight? 8 o'clock. We need you, Dirty Dog. But we got a ton to cover. More on polls. We're going to do a little look back coming up here. But first, whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. New customers, come on in. You get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code CHGO365. You deposit 10, bet 5, you get 150 bonus bets, win or lose. These are good things. Hey, they also got the early payout offer. You love that. You're a winner if your team goes 5 runs ahead. The Cubs do that like every single day, just whipping the Yankees this weekend. Use that code CHGO365 when you sign up. And breaking news, once again, when you bet with Bet365, new customers, you get that $150 bonus bet, win or lose, and reminding you, they can be used, that bet, on spreads, on totals, on player props, on futures, and more. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
That's right. And I want to give a shout out to our guys over at Empire Today. Just like your favorite team needs a home field advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. You go to those big box stores, you got to do everything yourself. You got to bring it. You got to install it. You got to buy it. You got to figure it out. Empire Today, they are the flooring experts that are going to help you with the entire process because they live and breathe flooring. That is right. And pick the right flooring for your and colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount when using the code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
Is there anything more entertaining than Braggs and I doing a solid just love for the people that make this show possible? I don't think there's anything better than that.
Nope, nothing's
better than that.
I was
in
trying
the
to
entire
think
world,
of,
nothing is better than that. Hey, taking the temp. Let's do this right now. It's our new branded segment. We talk about players, and today we're going to go GMs as far as today. It is brought to you by your trusted local experts for 4 seasons. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. These guys are straight top-notch. They are the best. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers, money-saving coupons. That is 4seasonsheatingcooling.com. AC troubles, get in there. But, hey, one guy who can afford a new AC installation and everything else is Ryan Poles, the now extended through 2029 general manager of the Chicago Bears. Let me be very clear. Ryan Poles has been first class since he got here. The guy is as professional as they come. He is respectful. He is somebody that I think anybody would say, if my daughter, I'd have him marry Ryan Poles. That guy seems like he does everything the right way. However, the Bears have not crossed over yet. I mean, we haven't had a winning season. You mentioned the teardown with Jahns. Was if we take the temp here, if 100 degrees is the perfect temperature, which it isn't, but let's just say it like that, what temperature do you give this move as it is the right move to extend Ryan Poles right now? Wow.
Well, I guess there's two.
Big pause.
Yeah, I mean, because there's two different ways of me answering this question. Would I have done it?
Yeah.
Yes. Because that means that Ben Johnson said, I want to come here, but if I come here and sign for $13 million, I want Ryan Poles to be extended, and we are on the same timeline. Because we've all been through this before since the Lovey days. Okay. And if it didn't work out this year, and now you're abandoning ship on Ryan Poles, the next GM comes in. We've done this rollover, and then the GM is not tied to Ben Johnson. And we could just continue to do this rollover dance that is just a never-ending cycle. And you're trying to break the cycle. We keep bringing that up. Well, then you actually have to dig your feet in the dirt and grind through the adversity and the ups and downs and find your way to the other side. When you look at organizational consistency with the Steelers or the Packers or some of the better organizations in football, they don't bail out at the first signs of things going wrong. Now, they've both had things go right for them for decades with their franchise, so they may not be as used to things going wrong as we are here in Chicago. So at some point, the Bears just have to stick their feet in the dirt. I keep talking. We talked a lot about it on Friday when we broke down the Netflix series Quarterback and how the Lions, another franchise that's been through a lot of crap and now all of a sudden seem like they've got things going in the right direction. You've got to take adversity and fight through it. You can't run from it and try to put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound and continue to try to just bring in the short-term, solutions to your problems. So, yes, I know this is long-winded. Yes, I would have done it, but does he deserve it? That's a different question. No, that's an easy answer. He does not deserve an extension when I understand somebody said in the chat, 15-36 isn't a wins-loss isn't a stat for a GM. Well, it's on his watch, and you can point to a lot of bad moves that have been made even through this rebuilding and ripping down to the studs that slowed this process. And we're going to get into the top 5 best moves and top 5 worst moves that I think will open up a bigger discussion in our next segment of things that he could have done right in the last 3 years that might have sped this whole rebuild up a little faster. So I know this was long-winded, but that's where I stand on both ends of this aisle.
So it's very rare. Let's talk to everybody directly here. It's very rare that I, am able to stay with Greg on one of his long-winded rants, and it's also very rare that I basically agree with literally everything you just said.
I did it.
So this is a moment in time that we just need to mark, because I agree with you. Like, look, anybody who says he deserves an extension, what are you talking about? They've won 7 games as the high watermark. You can't tell me that guy deserves an extension. I don't care what the circumstances are. They've never overachieved. They lost 10 games in a row last year.
They lost 14 games in a row a few years ago. Now that was at the early part of the rebuild.
There's no way you could tell me that he's earned this. Now, to your point, if Ben is coming in here and saying, "Look, I want to be tied to this guy. I absolutely believe in him. There's a zillion circumstances that went into that record, and this guy, every time I talk to him, I just feel confident that he is going to, I want to be hand in hand walking down the street or whatever with him to the Super Bowl lane, a la Luke Stuckmeyer, CHGO Cubs, let's go." Then yeah, great, I get it. Make a bet and put your, what did you call it, feet in the dirt, whatever it was. I can hear that. And look, listen, if it goes sideways and somehow this thing doesn't work out well, then you'll have to eat some money at some point.
Well, and that's where I saw somebody on Twitter talking about this, and they're like, it's the first 3 years of POLES, and I'm going to reserve judgment, and I'll let you know halfway through this season. Come on, like, you got to wait. If you're going to be patient on whether or not you believe in Ryan Poles, it can't just be based off the first 7 games of this year and the first 7 games of the Ben Johnson era. Again, we talked about this all last Friday of where they showed how Jared Goff and Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and the whole Detroit Lions team, it took them 4 years to get to this point to where they're now back-to-back division champs. This is going to take time whether we like it or not. If it happens quickly, great. But like at some point you have to embrace a process instead of constantly trying to get the fastest results. And when you don't, just start burning it all to the ground.
First of all, shout out to whoever said long-winded the Carms and Bragg saga. That was funny. Colin calling. Very good. Well played. And T3P, is the roster good or no? I don't know. You got Bill Barnwell coming out last week who's rating their position players at 25th. I have no, I think Rome Odunze is going to hit. I'm not sure. Is Luther Burden going to hit? I have no idea.
Well, we went through this last year even, and this was before a big offseason of revamping your O-line, bolstering your depth in the draft. I thought the roster was good enough to win last year, and it wasn't a roster without flaws, but I felt, just from my assessment of looking at it, that they had enough to win football games last year, and the coaching staff was the difference. Because, Herm Edwards, I always bring up this quote, so I'll say it again. He said a long time ago, the difference between a 6-win team and a 10-win team is about 5 to 6 plays. And the Bears embody that almost every year, especially last year, where you can point to.
But that means the roster's not good enough. It's just too thin.
Okay, but you can't expect a perfect roster.
I understand. I got it. And the margins of the NFL are just that thin.
They're always that thin.
But I don't know. Steven, I see you want to get in here on something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think there's 3 different criteria we have to judge a general manager by. 1 is simply team success. 2 is team acquisitions, that's trades, that's free agency. And then 3 is the draft. For me, the draft has not been successful for Ryan Poles at this point. The team acquisitions, well, the jury's still out on that. This was a very good offseason for fixing the offensive line and adding some depth on the defensive line as well. And then the success is pretty well known. A 15-36 record isn't good. So for me, with Poles still having 2 years on this deal prior to the extension, I would have taken more of a wait-and-see approach, but if Ben Johnson comes into my office and says the only way I'm signing here is via GM alignment, well, I guess I'm extending the GM then.
So right,
or getting a new one, right? If that's what Ben said,
if that's what Ben wanted, I think we would have seen that result.
Which that's why I like Ryan Poles, like you've said. We've worked around him. I've met him. I think he's a good dude as well, and so I'm personally rooting for him, but I am surprised, like when we ended last year, that it wasn't the easier thing for the Bears or what Ben Johnson wanted to have his own guy, right? So that actually does surprise me. And so, maybe like Ben's seeing what some of us see, and the better things that Ryan Poles has done, even with the mistakes along with him.
We'll outline in detail the top 5 best, the top 5 not best coming up in a second here. But just real quick, because you mentioned quarterback on Netflix. So I was watching a bunch of those episodes over the weekend. First of all, the Big Lebowski, he's just so unbelievably entertaining. Do not look at Dan Campbell as the Big Lebowski, because that's who he is. But
I love that guy.
He's a straight beauty. But Ben's interactions with Jared Goff, I don't know what you guys said about this. I'm sorry I missed that show, but I was like, to me, it's enjoyable. It seems very grounded. And also, seeing Jared Goff behind the scenes, as much as we're getting to visualize that, people have not given that dude enough credit. I'm sorry. That guy is an excellent quarterback who functions very well in that system. But people are just like, because the Rams punted on him because they didn't think he was going to win a Super Bowl, somehow that narrative has sort of followed his career. It's like, that's really not who that guy is. That dude is a leader. That dude is a hell of a competitor. That guy's put up a ton of numbers. So I just think it's like, for me, it's like just cementing in my mind, like, a good quarterback up there in Detroit, and he's not going away either. So like, they're going to have to deal with it.
Well, and you're looking at 3 veterans on that show and guys that have been through it. Yeah. And so that's where you have to have patience with Caleb Williams. It's going to take him time to get to that point of the true understanding of the game, the calmness in the pocket, and to be able to see everything that's in front of him. Like, that takes time at the NFL level.
Well, that's the biggest thing. He has to become a pocket passer. That ain't overnight. It just isn't.
Right.
A decision-making pocket. But he's good at meandering himself in there, but you can't. He is not a pocket passer yet. So how much, and I don't think he ever necessarily will be, but it's got to get better. And maybe it will instantly with everything that's going on here. All right. We'll look at the top 5 and the worst 5 of the Poles era in a second. But first,
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home, Mark Carman, for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need to elevate your summer, and summer is certainly here in Chicago. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They've got locations all over the city and the suburbs, from Champaign all the way down in Wrigleyville, right down the street from the Marquee. And if you're a pro, we've got you covered with over 100 strains on the menu. We know you'll love them all. Visit Sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 or older or Illinois medical card holders. For existing users, use the promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
The good stuff. Also the good stuff. Shout out to our friends at 4 Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We know it is the air conditioning season right now. 4 Seasons, they've been around for over 50 years in Chicagoland, and now is the time. Right now, go get your air conditioning checked out. 4 Seasons experts are ready to help you with the AC installation, maintenance, and repair. You want to do it now. Listen, it can get up to 114 degrees. It did last year. August is coming. Get yourself taken care of. Plumbing, electric, heating, cooling emergency. Need a new hot water tank, generator, all the things. Call 4 Seasons. Same day installation. No extra charge. Nights, weekends, holidays. They're there for you. 866-4 Seasons. 866-4 Seasons. Your trusted local experts are 4 Seasons Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electric. Visit 4seasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers. All right, let's go top 5 best, top 5 worst Ryan Poles. Do you want to? I want to quibble with your list here.
Yeah.
So do you want to do your list and then I'll quibble with it? Or want to do it that way?
Yeah.
Let's quibble. Are we going best or worst first?
Dealer's choice.
Let's start with the best. Let's start positive. I'm Mr. Positive. That's everybody who knows me. I reek of sunshine.
Get some Mando. That sounds like a Mando issue.
Yeah. Well,
if you reek.
Yeah. No, it's not great over here right now. But if we really want to talk about that, good thing that You know, this is on YouTube and not live. You're in trouble. But anyway, go ahead. Top 5 best.
All right, my best, I put this together here this morning, but we Steven and I are kind of putting our heads together, and feel free to chime in the chat if you have any ones that you think should have made this list. But number 1, Adam Jahns talked about it. Seems like an easy one, but it's the obvious one. Trade back with the Carolina Panthers. It sets your franchise up for years to come. I mean, they just finished out that deal here this year with the additional second-round pick. And so that is able to really fetch you. I mean, what did that turn into this year, Steven, right? Because they traded back. So then they had 2 more. They ended up having an additional second-round pick. Am I saying this whole?
They moved back. They got Trapillo.
Right.
That was one of them.
And Shamar Turner.
And Shamar Turner.
So what if that was off that pick? Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, so be it. It happens. But regardless, it's just one of those that just kind of paved the way for these last few years of this organization to build to this point of where their roster stands. And you could say it was an easy and obvious move to make for Ryan Poles to trade back. That's true. But where they were going to trade back at the time, I'll remind you, the Texans were at 2, the Colts were at 4, and maybe the Bears might have played it a little safer and not traded back as far and not been able to get maybe as big of a deal. They go all the way back to 9, and that sets you up for the trickle-down effect and the dominoes to turn to and eventually get the number 1 pick in back-to-back years, leading to Caleb Williams and much more. So that's number 1. Number 2, hiring Ben Johnson. Starts with the head coach, starts with the quarterback. So my number 2 is hiring Ben Johnson for the Bears to go out and get the top dollar head coach, one of the best player callers in football. His resume has spoken for itself the last 3-4 years. 70 touchdowns with the Detroit Lions last year. You go and roll out the Brinks truck for Ben Johnson, $13 million. That was a big, chest pumping move for Kevin Warren, George McCaskey, and the Chicago Bears to go out and get their guy, which doesn't always happen. Number 3, signing Jalen Johnson to his new deal a couple years ago, when they were kind of in a standoff of, getting a contract done with Jalen Johnson. You end up inking him, and at the time it was one of the higher paid contracts for corners in the league. It is now he is now the 12th highest paid corner in football. Would you say he's higher as from a talent standpoint than the 12th highest play?
I would, Greg.
Right.
That's good value.
He might be the best, if not in the top 3.
I'd say he's a consensus top 5, and he has the talent to be number 1 overall.
Right. So, and being paid 12th highest, that's pretty darn good. Number 4, number 5, it's all from this offseason, but we've been asking for offensive line help in this city for a long time, to trade for an all-pro left guard in Joe Thuney right after Trey Smith, who's potentially about to get a big deal here in the next 24 hours from the Kansas City Chiefs, to then, come up with this creative way of still finding a way into that Chiefs organization and getting one of their best players on their roster, bringing him over here. He wasn't a free agent, as free agency was about to happen there in that week, and you go out and get Joe Thuney. That was a big fish move. And then signing Drew Dahlman. We've been asking for a center. We've been through the carousel of Lucas Patrick and many other failed centers here in Chicago, and you go out and get Drew Dahlman, one of the top paid centers in the league. That's going to give stability on that offensive line and give stability for your quarterback in the pocket for years to come. So starts with the quarterback, starts with the head coach, and starts with your offensive line if you want to be in a winning organization. That's why they made my top 5.
So you have in your honorable mentions, you've got signing T.J. Edwards, signing Andrew Billings, and signing Cole Kmet, who's now the 7th highest paid tight end. So let me do a full quibble, not even a half quibble on you.
Okay.
Well, first off, I would actually put Jalen at number 1 because that's the most proven guy on the team. They allowed themselves to mess around with him with Matt Eberflus, putting him on the second team, elevating his play, asking for him to get more interceptions. He went out and delivered, and they paid him. Mm-hmm. So, to me, that's the best player on your roster in the top 3 if you want to quibble on that, and they took care of it It's not super sexy, but I would actually put that at 1. TJ Edwards is a top 10 linebacker, and they got him for basically nothing. That was actually identifying somebody that was being undervalued and getting him on a really team-friendly deal. And then his extension is a team-friendly extension. So everything they've done with TJ Edwards, I would put that in the top 2. The rest of them, to me, are incomplete. I would like to say that Ben Johnson is the first, because now you actually have somebody at the front who's leading the organization, who knows what he's doing, which has not been here in literally forever. If you want to give it to Lovie, that's fine. All the way back to Lovie Smith. But we don't know. I think it's going to work out. You think it's going to work out. Carm Sweet Bippy thinks it's going to work out. So does KQ. But it hasn't happened yet. The trade with the Carolina Panthers, right now, C.J. Stroud has had the most success of any of them, and Jaden Daniels is right there. So, that trade, you got to get the QB right. Right now, it hasn't happened yet. DJ Moore's a good player. 1,300 yards his first year was phenomenal with Justin. Took a step back last year, but he's not a Hall of Famer. So and Tyreek Stevens, I get it, Darno, right? All of it. It's a good trade, but it's still, to me, a work in progress. The philosophy behind it and all of that, I'm with him 100%. But if you look at the actual what's happened and who they passed on, I think the trade gets a little bit gets overrated at times. Joe Thuney, that's a very safe bet that's going to work, and didn't give up anything to get a Hall of Famer to be. Adam Hogue put Thuney in his will when he came here, and Drew Dahlman's the same thing. So but none of this is it all looks very good on paper, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's why.
Well, let's be real. Trying to find a top 5 best moves of things that have already panned out.
Right.
We've only been a couple years into this Ryan Poles era, 3 years, but really as far as making moves for going forward, the first year was a complete rip down. So trying to find top 5 moves, a lot of it is projecting.
Right.
Because I saw T3P, who's always in our chat and on a crusade to show that Caleb Williams isn't good and they should have never drafted him and kept Justin Fields. But that's drafting Caleb Williams isn't in my top 5 of best moves for a couple reasons. A, he still has to pan out.
Right.
And B, it was the obvious move to make. It's not a best move when he's the number 1 pick in the draft, and literally every team in football would have drafted Caleb Williams number 1.
Also, the offensive rookie of the year went next. I'm not saying it's not going to pan out that Jaden gets hurt and Caleb is great and Caleb's first year, whatever. We've gone through the numbers a million times. It's fine, but they need a whole lot better. Steven, you have anything to throw in on this? Or are you all right?
Actually, our guy Sam Fatigato just chimed in on the chat. I'm surprised you didn't bring this one up. What about Tyson Bagent as an undrafted free agent?
It's Fatigato. You know what? That's why you're a Fatigato. It's that should have been number 1. You're absolutely right.
Didn't even make the honorable mentions by me.
Well, it actually should be in bare minimum in honorable mentions. It should be.
Yeah.
2 and 2.
Yep.
What's he talking about?
It's fine.
That's 2 of Ryan Poles' 15 wins.
Hey, it's an excellent point. If you percentage that out, that's what is that? That's over 10. That's 12%, 13%. Come on.
You can quibble, and I think your quibbles are fair, but ultimately, and yes, this is every offseason we overhype, the offseason moves made, and then it doesn't always work out the way we thought it would look, going into the season. But at the same time, I think it's fair to bring Ben Johnson, Joe Thuney, and Drew Dahlman to this list. And if that's the case, 3 of your top 5 moves by Ryan Poles were this offseason, and that's they need this here to get this push, to get them over the top. Last year had a lot of expectations that certainly fell short. But it's been a big offseason. And when we talk about last segment, taking the temp, did he deserve the contract or not? A lot of times when we talk about Ryan Poles and deservingness of the contract, all we talk about is the coaching or the player personnel decisions. But the coaching decisions are just as important.
Yes.
And we'll get into the worst, and some of these coaching decisions are certainly going to be on there. But, looking at the coaching staff they've built this offseason, is arguably bigger than anything they've done from a roster standpoint.
Yeah, and T3P actually makes a very fair point, and that should be on the list. Braxton Jones is a 5th-round starting tackle, should be on that list, 100%.
I would put it in honorable mention.
Of things that have happened, that's in the top 5. Easily.
That have happened.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That should be shouted out.
Respectfully to Braxton Jones, I'm a little more bullish on
Ozzie Trapillo?
I'm just not. I don't think Braxton Jones is bad, and he from being a 5th-round pick and being able to start, the way he has the last few years is good. But I don't think he's that good of a left tackle personally. So like that,
But I mean, to find a starting left tackle in the 5th round is extremely rare. And think about how much the Bears have saved by doing that.
I get it.
You don't have to pay. I mean, most expensive position.
I don't. We talked about this with
Gordon's on the list too.
Left tackle and edge.
We talked about this on who's going to win the job at left tackle this year. Has Braxton Jones been the left tackle by default the last few years? Okay, they drafted him in the 5th round, and he's been the left tackle. But I want a good left tackle. Like, I'm not just because he's been the left tackle.
Right, but now you're bringing a little bit too much of you into it. It just sort of if you looked at what's actually happened, that's in there. So is Kyler Gordon, by the way. That's drafted, extended. Gordon's in there. He almost could even put him. I don't know, number 2.
So my list is bad.
It's a bad list, but it's a good list because you did it, and everything you do is lovely.
Okay, it's fair.
There we go.
Those are fair arguments against my list.
Yeah, that's why we do these shows, because we're all in this together. Damn it, we got the top 5 worst. Can't wait to debate that. But first. And a shout out to our friends at Mando. Look, it is summer. You're traveling. You're going places. I got to come downtown today in like 5 seconds because you guys are on the move. You know what they got for you? They got the 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar. It's a shampoo. It's a face wash. It's a body wash. It's a deodorant all in one. I love a good all in one. It simplifies your whole hygiene routine. I like simplification. Mando likes simplification. Save space in your bag as well. Travel is good. And yes, as always, Mando's got you their starter pack for new customers. Solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice. It's a little fun moment when you get to choose what you're going to do. Special offer for you, new customers, 20% off the site with your exclusive code, which is that code CHGO at shopmando.com. Shopmando.com, 20% off. Please support the show, by the way, and tell them that CHGO sent you. Smell fresh or stay dry, head to toe, smell good. Mando.
That's right. And when I was smelling good at the Windy City Smokeout yesterday,
did you smell good?
I was smelling great, and I used Game Time to hit up that concert and got there, and that's how Game Time always takes care of you. I always hit up Game Time for whatever concert game that I'm going to, for buying and selling tickets. They actually are really great when you're trying to get rid of your tickets and get some extra dollars in your pocket as well. Game Time makes tickets even faster and easier. Prices on Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch or any event. Killer last minute deals, views from your seat, and their lowest price guaranteed. It's really sweet, man. You go on the app that shows you the hot deal, the cheapest deals. It takes care of you. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
All right. We might do a little overtime today because we got a little extra flexibility. But let's get in this top 5 worst.
Yep. So
I don't think I'll
bottom 5 then.
Yeah, well, bottom 5 that's better. Thank you, bottom 5.
Okay.
The 5 worst moves that Ryan Poles has done that he'll never do again, and the Bears are always going to make good moves from here on out because that's how this is going to fly.
That's right. So on this list, as I mentioned before the break, we always talk about player personnel decisions for a GM, but the coaching decisions for me with Ryan Poles have been his worst so far until Ben Johnson saved us here this offseason. So I'll give Ryan Poles credit there. But number 1 in my worst was hiring Matt Eberflus, and then even worse, in my opinion, was keeping him last year. It's one thing to hire him.
He was
your first-year GM. Everybody wants to just give him the excuse that it wasn't his hire. It's a nauseating conversation for me. You're the GM. You put your big boy pants on. Yes, you're a first-year GM,
Fair.
and you're a young GM. But if I'm being hired for a job and then they're going to tell me that I don't get to do my job by making the biggest decision, then I don't want that job. And if you're going to take that job and then be hamstrung by them making that decision for you, that's your own fault, and it's still on your resume whether you like it or not. So, but that's my stance on it. But other people, fine. They want to give him the excuse that he didn't get to pick Eberflus to start. Well, you picked him to stay here last year, and that was even worse in my opinion.
Some people say that wasn't his choice either.
What? Well, no, the Bears fans rationalization now, which I'm fully on board with, but it's a silly one, is, well, it all worked out because we ended up getting Ben Johnson. So everything happens for a reason, and then I just had to lose 15 years of my life from a 10-game losing streak last year. So thank you for that. I'm glad it all worked out for everyone, that I almost died. Number 2, same thing. Last year, hiring Shane Waldron. You go through this extensive process of interviewing 15 different offensive coordinator candidates. You only take one of those OC candidates for a second interview, and that person is Shane Waldron, who could arguably, now hindsight being 2020, be the least qualified guy for the job. When you look at a guy like Cliff Kingsbury and the success he had, with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, it's hard not to think of the what if. This is the big what if week here in CHGO Sports, and we're going to be doing what if shows for every team here throughout the week. Ours is coming here on Thursday, but Cliff Kingsbury, Caleb Williams, they've had a history and a connection together, could have brought him in, and then what if that had happened and how Caleb Williams' rookie year would have looked maybe differently, who knows. Then, of course, number 3, the one where Honey Bear had his pom-poms out the day of, trading for Chase Claypool. Did not work out. So that one's got some egg on my face. Don't go back and watch that breaking news show because a certain someone looks like a complete idiot for an hour and a half on there. And then the guy to my right was the one trying to get Honey Bear to calm down, but Honey Bear could not calm down because he predicted it the day before. So I got a little ahead of my skis.
You calling yourself Honey Bear is really uplifting my day. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I tried to fight this for a long time, and now I just have to embrace it.
You're embracing Honey Bear?
I guess I got to embrace it. I
good.
did not like it to start, but, when there's proof out there of me doing Honey Bear acts, like on our breaking news, Bears trade for Chase Claypool, which if we want to delete that show, Steven, you're more than welcome to.
I might actually re-air this live. Just resend it. Really give you a nice rosy outlook there.
If you go back and watch, it's certainly an entertaining one, that's for sure.
You embracing Honey Bear is good, just like we're embracing resting Hogue face and everything that I do.
Yes, we're embracing everything that you do, that's for sure.
Right.
Number 4, signing Nate Davis was a bad move. Keeping Nate Davis last year was a worse move for me. I understand the idea. If your process makes sense to me, I can go along with the move, even if it doesn't work out.
Yep.
If you show me the reasoning and I understand the logic of your decision of trying it, I can go along with that. So signing Nate Davis didn't work out, so it's a bad move, ends up on the worst list. But once you knew who he was for the last few years, and you get to training camp last year and he's kicking the dandelions around while everybody else is out there grinding away through training camp, and then you start him week 1 and nobody will cut him. I pleaded with the team, please cut him before the season starts. Instead, you start him at right guard. You talk about offensive line continuity. Yes, Matt Pryor isn't, a top offensive line in the league, but he deserved to be the starting right guard. From week 1 on, Nate Davis didn't deserve anything. And the fact that Ryan Poles couldn't admit the mistake he made and get that toxicity out of the locker room by not cutting him was, to me, the worst move. One of the worst moves I've seen so far in the Ryan Poles tenure. Need to see a little more confidence and courage in your convictions. Needed to be cut right away. They end up cutting him, halfway through the season. So there you go. Number 5, we've talked about this a lot. Bears fans have talked about it a lot. We'll never talk about it. Hopefully never have to talk about it again, but we will, because Jalen Carter continues to dominate here in the NFL. He makes the list. It's almost impossible not to. Jalen Carter falls into your lap. You end up taking Darnell Wright, who's certainly, held it down at right tackle. But when you talk about having game-changing players. And I understand T3P in the chat saying big decks in the second round and Darnell Wright were good. I understand that. And I'm not taking anything. This has nothing to do with Darnell Wright and Trevon Dexter. But it does have everything to do with having a Super Bowl caliber game-wrecking player with Jalen Carter. It's really not debatable the talent that Jalen Carter has. And again, going back to Bears fans' rationale, well, it would have never worked out here because they didn't have the culture. You draft good players, and then if you're going to say it's because of the culture that you're not going to draft good players, that's more of an indictment on the GM and everything you're building there. So I didn't like that excuse at the time. I would have drafted Jalen Carter. If you go back and check the receipts on those shows, that backs me up. So at least I didn't look like an idiot there, but it's not about me putting everything in me into these lists.
Yeah, my receipts on that are not good. And whoever, I think it was Colin again, calling out Carman, that's basically how you do everything is putting you in it. That's another good point. I'm an incredible hypocrite. Excellent job. You're on fire today. All right, so I will do my job and quibble with this list as well. The worst one for me, because what you hit on where I look at is the process of it all. And the Chase Claypool process was straight horrible. You were not trying to win. Giving up a second-round pick at that time was insane. And not understanding that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a great organization, that they would not allow you to trade you thought that Chase Claypool was going to leave there and land in Chicago and help Justin Fields take off? That is insane. And anyone you talked to in Pittsburgh at the time were like, Claypool ain't it. And somehow the Bears just didn't know it, which is bizarre to me. Steven, you look like you got something on your mind. You don't hate that trade as much as I hate it?
No, I absolutely hate it. I remember what the thought process was at the time, or what we were told was, the free agent class for wide receivers the following offseason was going to be so poor that they wanted to jump that.
They were so smart.
They were willing to trade a second-rounder that effectively became a first-rounder because the Dolphins forfeited a first-round pick. The Bears would have had that first pick in the second round. That becomes pick 32 overall. So it was pretty much a first-round pick, just to quote-unquote jump the market and make your team worse at the position as it turned out.
Well, I mean, so I will quibble a little bit with not understanding the process. You brought up one half of the equation, and that was the upcoming free agency available wide receivers in that offseason. And Justin Fields at that point did not have a wide receiver to throw to. The cupboard was bare. There was no DJ Moore. There was no Ruma Dunze.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney was his number one.
There was no Luther Burden. You had Darnell Mooney, and then, obviously he's now with the Falcons. But they needed to bring in wide receivers so Justin Fields could develop as a quarterback. And when you had, St. Brown running around, and you had, who were the wide receivers back there? The only one we could name is Darnell Mooney.
That's fine. But you could have found a lot better value than Chase Claypool for a second-round pick. And not knowing how his personality was going to land. That's the worst guy they've had in this locker room, and it's not even close.
Right.
He was a nightmare. Nate Davis, I'll put that number 2 on the process list, by the way. But in the locker room, it didn't matter because he wasn't even in the locker room. The dude just stayed at home basically. But it wasn't great there either, though. In that room, but they ended up with Nate Davis because they were gonna sign. Mike McGlinchey got too expensive at right tackle. They didn't need a right guard at that point. Tevin Jenkins had played excellent at that position, but they just wanted to. If they missed out, so they're like scooping around. It's like, oh, let's go get Nate Davis. And at the time, like, why do you need a right guard, and why are you paying premium money for him? It just, none of it made sense. And then you got in the character issues. It was just bizarre. I losing a parent and all that. I'm obviously way too familiar for that recently, but the guy couldn't get on the field. It was unbelievable what was going on there. So that to me is a fair number too. Now, the Matt Eberflus thing. Well, let's do Shane Waldron actually. Let's put that. How we had 1 second of an interview with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and I wouldn't have hired Shane Waldron after that, and yet you had 800 extensive interviews with everybody around the NFL who seemingly are all really good at your job, and you settled on Shane Waldron. I put some of that, by the way, on just Eberflus and the whole system and whatnot. Like, I think Shane perhaps could have it might have worked somewhere. It just wasn't going to work here, and he should have figured that out. That was absolutely horrible. And then, by the way, as we get up to the 1 o'clock, shout out to everybody who's become a diehard. But if you haven't, $36, Hogan Jahns special. As we leave you on the TV right now, show going exclusively onto YouTube. Look at that Hogan Jahns introductory diehard special. 2 options for you, the shirt, the hat, different price points. Thank you to everybody who supported the show. And, yeah, having Adam here, being able to read his content, you want to get in. Outstanding
right now,
opportunity.
training camp here, 1 week away from officially getting rolling here. A week from tomorrow, you got Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, right? Speaking of the media.
I mean, it's interesting on your honorable mentions. Trading for Ryan Bates, the long lost Ryan Bates. No one has ever tried to get Ryan Bates on a roster more than the Bears have, and that was obviously with the arthritic shoulder, never worked out. Overpaid for Tremaine Edmonds, not great. Trading Roquan, some would give him a little bit of leeway because you were trying to tear it down. I didn't like that. I hated that trade too. You don't have David Montgomery on here, which is,
That's me doing the bias thing again.
Yeah, so I think the bias is showing up. You let a professional, solid, productive running back walk out the door, and as far as I can tell, you're still trying to figure out what's going on there. DeAndre Swift might have a better year here this year, but David Montgomery would still fit here quite well, and he's doing it for Detroit. That ain't great. And the Jalen Carter part about this, Darnell Wright, fine. This is not about Darnell Wright, but to your point, that was the dynamic guy who could change your defense, and we're still sitting there. When you're looking at the Bears in 2025, will they be able to impact the quarterback? Not draft. You probably still make the Montez Sweat trade, which also is not on here on either side of the ledger, which is interesting too. Putting it together, because that's your top highest paid guy on team, traded second round pick for him. He didn't make the best, didn't make the worst. Where is he?
Right, exactly. It's like the most frustrating one so far because it should be in the best. You can't really put it in the worst, but it's like leaning that way unless he has a big year this year.
It also spoke at the times like you're not trying. I don't put that in the Claypool thing because he came here. And you have to get to the quarterback when you don't have it, giving up a second-round pick to get it, even in the middle of a lost season. I can understand that a little bit better. But it's also a little wonky, too. Like, you're not they weren't trying to go to the playoffs. You were a 7-win team that year. Like, you didn't need to jump the shark to go get him. To your point about, like, tearing it down and being patient, it's like they're trying to race through it right there versus – doing it the old-fashioned drafting it way. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's also interesting that, as we're going through those, Velus Jones doesn't make the list, not even in there.
I always thought that was like
too harsh.
Yeah, because what was he, a third-round pick?
71 overall, third-round pick, first offensive player that he drafted.
It's not something where, people made such a big deal out of it, but it was, they didn't have a first-round pick that year, right? Right?
They didn't. Gordon was first, and then Gordon 39, Brisker 48, Velus 71.
People made a bigger deal. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad pick. It was. You still value your third-round picks, but
it didn't work out. But there's way more on there. Look, the bottom line. It's not a short list on the backside. It's
right.
There's plenty that we could put in there.
But that's my point, though. If that would be the mark of a good GM is if number 2 was drafting Velus Jones. If that had made because there's way worse than that.
Right, but I would argue that what belongs on the list is, and he was fine, but not an asset in the locker room. You let Darnell Mooney walk out the door. The dude balled last year for the Falcons. He was second in the league in biggest completions. Put up 1,000 yards. Was having all the fun with Kirk Cousins, and you went out and signed Keenan Allen for way more money for 1 year. That ain't great. And you traded a 4th-round pick for him. Doesn't look that good. You could have kept Darnell around. Like there's a missing to me, and it's the same thing with the Cole Kmet conversation. Cole Kmet, you want him in your locker room, man. That dude does everything the right way. The Bears are trying to build this culture. Darnell Mooney was a great culture guy. So was David Montgomery. You want Mike Singletary. You want winners, solid grinder dudes. DeAndre Swift, by the way, is that too. That guy goes about his business the right way. I'm not trying to throw shade at him that way. But it's there, valuing who's in that locker room is he's kind of had some misses there too.
Yep.
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Right. Hanging in. The Cubs won 2 of 3 this weekend, so
that was good.
That made me feel better.
Yeah.
I had a lot of alcohol at the Windy City Smokeout.
Good.
I shot my best round of golf all year on Saturday. Broke 90 for the first time all summer. As I work back from 2 busted knees. Thank you very this has been a long road.
With the excuses.
It's been a long road.
You drove an hour and 25 minutes with your wife and your mom to come honor my dad yesterday with the old Shiva.
The Shivas, right?
Shiva.
Shiva. Because
you're an honorary Jew now,
so
buddy.
My mom and Jenny and I separately were all Googling what is it? What do you do at a Shiva?
You hang out.
And it was mixed reporting on what we were walking into. I didn't know. When we came in, it was just
just standing there,
a brunch almost, a
brunch,
little hangout. But but it was also kind of explained there was other explanations of this, that there's you come in, everybody's quiet. Well, we're not supposed to talk to you. Apparently, I read this in the thing. There's praying and some people are
you literally Googled this and did research.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, because we weren't sure attire, what's appropriate attire, what do we bring.
Your mom dressed beautifully. It was a very nice dress and all that. You had your slacks on. You looked great. Did you change for the Windy City Smokeout, or did you do it like that?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I changed. I wore something nice.
Yeah, there you go.
For you.
It was very nice. And for real, sincerely, I very much appreciated you being there. I figured I would tell one Freddie story to wrap up here. So, my dad was a serious dude who he could do the New York Times crossword puzzle in 5 seconds, Monday through Sunday. On Sundays they had this thing, I think it was called the acrostic or something, that nobody in the world could solve. My dad could do it. He didn't pass any of this along, but he could do all this stuff. So he also, for dinner time, we always would watch Wheel of Fortune. And the dude's solving the puzzle a maniac, and so I'm like Freddie.
I can never do those either. When I'm watching, and there will be only 3 letters left, and I'm still panicking because I can't figure out what it says. And then when they reveal it, you feel so stupid.
Yeah, right. It's oh yeah, that's what it is. Of course. But so he's crushing Wheel of Fortune. So I was like, let's go out. He had friends, he had cousins and relatives in California. So let's go out to California and try out. What do you think? And so we did this. We went out to California to try out for the Wheel of Fortune. So he's in there, and there's 40 people trying out the first round. They're spinning the wheel, and everyone's going crazy in there as the wheel's spinning. My dad's sitting there like this, just staring at the puzzle, trying to figure that thing out as quick as possible. And he crushed the puzzles. And so when they announce who's going to the next round of actual interviews, who's going to be on the show, they name the 4 loudest people in there who were going nuts and cheering the brags and whatever. Those people got taken, and hey, old man in the front row who's showing zero personality.
Just locked in.
You're out, pal. And so we're sitting there at dinner. He's like, I really am an idiot. I'm like, hey man, it was Dad, that was on brand. That's what you did.
Yeah.
So
there. The other observation I made yesterday at the Shiva was that there was, the poster boards up with all the pictures and some really cool old school pictures of Fred Carman, and kind of got a visualization of what it was like back in the day. And so for me, just trying to get a peek behind who Mark Carman is, the person growing up. And he's, Mark shared other pictures here, from his college days where you kind of see a different side of Carm. But then my favorite part of the poster boards and the pictures was after the college days, you can see like this 15 to 20 year window where Carm is like going through these different hair and facial hair phases where he can't quite figure out how he wants to look. And it got worse and worse. Like you could tell that it, like his decision making, whether he was going to Supercuts or wherever, it was just getting worse as it went. And Jackie said, yes, he's finally gotten it right now that he's with me. And I think she's right there because, man, you were in some trouble there for a while.
Yeah, no, it's listen, Ruth, shout out Ruth Adler, who was a teacher at Highland Park High School. She came to the funeral on Friday. And she looks at me and she's like, when did you get good looking? And I'm like, thanks, Mrs. Adler. It's very nice of you to say. But it wasn't in high school, buddy. This guy was scuffling. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah, that's what I said. I come up to him. You know,
I've improved over time.
You know what I realized? There's a 20-year period where you looked like an idiot.
I mean, I'm not sure we're quite there yet. Thank you for being there one more time. So
no problem.
We figure we tell.
Yeah, it was funny because I was golfing on Saturday with Justin, my buddy, and I was telling a story about how I was trying to cheer you up last week, and he was like, "Oh, that's nice that you guys like genuinely like each other." I was like, "Oh no, we genuinely like each other, and we genuinely hate each other. They are both very authentic emotions and feelings we have for each other. It's quite a ride."
Yeah. Well, you're like I think like you coming yesterday, my goodwill for you is going to last, I think, about 6 months. I think it probably the whole season.
I'm sure I'll burn that out halfway through training.
Yeah, that could happen too. All right, let's do the super chats here on the way out. Appreciate everybody's comments today. Hit the like button as we are creeping closer here. Rookies are reporting the 19th. When is the 19th? 5 days. 5 days.
5 days to what?
Today's the 14th, so next week we're doing training camp shows. All right. Head in the right place. J.O., what's up, my friend? $10. Aloha. Someone needs to get me in touch with the Bears and Kauai. Bears and Kauai, come on, find J.O. I want to meet up with him before a Die Hard beer. Can't wait to see you all at Family Fest. J.O., enjoy your trip, man. Bears on Kauai, step it up. Don't do what don't come up short like the past that happened. I shouldn't mention that. $5 from Kyle. Is Poles responsible for all those losses? I feel like Eberflus was not his hire. Kyle, you're running down a road that many have run down, so no pushback there. $2 from Bears Den. Hit the like button for Papa Carm. Bears Den, I really appreciate that. We did do our best. We all did our best to celebrate my dad. 99 and a half years in all. And I know there's a ton of you out there who've lost a parent.
Was he a Cubs fan?
Yes, but like not a big baseball guy. Was always bored by baseball. Okay. Like to tell a story of going to some night game way back in the day in like the 30s. It's the first night game that he went to or something. I think it was the Reds were playing.
Because to live to 100 is crazy when you think about it. Born in
1925. That's how that works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, math has never been my strong suit. Just wanted to make sure. Shut your mouth, Steven. Just to when you think about somebody living to be 100. The amount of things they went through in life. You know what I mean? Like, he was around before highways existed. Like, you couldn't drive across the country. No, for real. Like, if you look.
Nah, there were highways.
No, I was watching a thing.
Are you serious?
Yes, I was watching a thing
you
on
tell
the
me
history.
You could drive from New York to California in
I was
1925?
watching it, not safely, not the way we do nowadays. I was watching a thing on the History Channel about how they built the highways and it took a long time for them to build the highway systems like they do nowadays.
Yeah, okay.
So he's part of there's trains and everything that were a big part of making America the country it is today, and to live through the evolution of all that. But then also looking at it from a sports lens, I always think about the people that lived to be 100 and didn't see the Cubs win a World Series. Right. And just me as a fan, the idea of spending my entire life truly wanting and cheering and supporting and the passion I have for the Bears. If I live to be 100 and they never win, that is probably the scariest thing you could propose to me in my life. Because the heartache that would come with that, and then the realization of what a complete waste of time that was for the 100 years you're a Cubs fan and you never saw one.
I don't look at it like that though. I think you get joy on being a fan, whether they win or lose. Like, this is your life. You love it. You're sitting in this seat because of it. So you've gotten paid off immensely. Like, when they win, which will happen, fingers crossed, in your lifetime. By the way, you're not living to 100. I would bet against that.
That's what I'm saying.
But
That's what I'm saying. Like, we got to pick it up now. I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yeah. But that'll be sweet. But you also saw it, like, when the Cubs won in 16, it was like it changed your life for. I mean, it's like there's a calmness on that they won it that is there. That is there. That's true. But like the euphoria of it.
Just goes to show you how little we really ask of our organizations here, our franchises here in Chicago. Like, just win one and we're fine. Like, it really does get like that. Yeah. Because we've been through so much. And for me personally as a sports fan, I mean, we talk about it all the time, but for me to be able to actually live through the Jordan years, yes, there's times I wish I would have been a little older for it, but I was certainly old enough to experience all 6 championships. You were freaking in the stands, hanging out, covering Jordan at the end of it. Like, I'll never complain too much about what I haven't gotten as a sports fan because I got to live through the Jordan years. Yeah,
I take back everything I just said. Game 6, 1992, winning at home, greatest day of my life. That was unbelievable. I hope as far as like pure joy and happiness in a moment, I don't. Very few that have touched that, so I take it back. Cody DDD, condolences to your dad passing away back in March of 2016. So he never saw the Cubs win a series. That sucks. And there it is. You'll always think about him. Different stuff will pop back up. All right. Rest of the week is interesting. We're doing some different stuff this week.
Are we?
Well, aren't we?
Yes, we are. It's rank week here at CHGO.
I said that earlier.
Okay, well, then why'd you say are we?
Well, I don't know. I thought you were talking about.
So today at 7 p.m., we're going to have our Blackhawks what if show. So what if, fill in the blank, this would have happened. We're going to rank our top 10. The Bears show will be Thursday at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Which I said earlier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then you still think it's the same week as usual.
Well, right.
Just don't defend. You don't need to defend. It's good.
I mean, the biggest difference this week is Hogan's going to come into work.
Is he back Wednesday?
Wednesday.
So we only get one more day to do this?
Yes.
You guys have made it. One more, and then Daddy will be back.
Like, honestly, the people that have been through to stick with us in the summer is one thing, but to stick with us in the last 3 weeks without Hogue, like the people that have, like, we should honestly make a list and do something nice for those people. Not the people that came in the chat and said that, why aren't these two fired? Those people don't get anything.
They were in there. But I love them too. Hey, all right, we'll have some fun tomorrow. Hogue back on Wednesday. Rank week, a ton of stuff going on here. And then training camp right around the corner. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you watching or listening whenever you did. We'll see you next time.
We all silly like the mayor.